How to do a seated approach. I've got two recordings of guys that I was coaching recently, and they did approaches on girls that were seated. In simplistic terms, we're just going to break that down. But before we kick it off, I'm Dave, and this channel is dedicated to giving you no BS, novel dating advice for the modern man. My autobiography is in the description, and top link in the description to get some coaching with me. I've also got a Telegram group if you want to join up to that and ask me any questions. I give a free coaching session to anyone that joins up to that as well. But let's just get straight into this. What we have here is two different approaches. I'm going to break them both down. You can hear me talking over the top, by the way, but let's just get into it.
Say hello, and then yep, there we go, and then sit down. Sit down.
So you can see he said something funny. She pointed at him. He's got his head kind of tilted over, like, he's dressed well, and she's seated on a bench here. It's just outside in front of a cafe. There's lots of people around. It's it's a highly populated area. There's a spare seat it's a long bench, so there's plenty of room for him to sit down. If you go over there and just stand in front of someone, it can just make them feel a little bit uncomfortable. So you should, if she's sitting there and you say hello, just sit down and then try to strike up a conversation that way.
Don't do the head thing. He's doing the head thing again. Sit down.
Yeah, you can see how I commented on the head thing. He's got the head kind of like, I think just standing up straight with good posture, not like you're talking to a child that's sitting down.
That's enough. Sit down.
She's smiling.
Sit down.
And so you can see I'm getting a little bit frustrated. But if you have a close look at it, it's like, okay, well, I don't know, she's got a phone in her hand, she's, sitting there, she's got a few minutes. After just saying hello, you could just say, look, is it okay if I sit down there? There's a possibility she goes, oh no, I've got a friend coming, or something like that. Most of the time, if you say, can I sit down, just out of politeness, most girls will just immediately say, yeah, sure. And then you start your conversation, you start your rap, you try to run your game and see how it goes. But standing over her can just put too much pressure on her. It's as if, like, what, does something need to happen right now? A little bit too much pressure. Sure, if when you get into the conversation, she's a yes girl off the approach, and you could, if you wanted to, it's a risky thing to do. Just invite her to move on with you straight away. What are you doing right now? Oh, you want to get a coffee? Boom. I don't know. You're about to order food, or you're on your lunch break. How about come have lunch with me while standing, and then just try ask her immediately. You might get lucky. She might just go, oh yeah. She might be a yes girl. Most of the time, it's better just to introduce yourself and sit down. The worst thing you could do is stand there.
What are you doing? Sit. I have a feeling he's going to eject any minute now. Sit down.
So she's loving it. She's giggling. She's laughing. She thinks he's making some funny jokes. But then you can, it looks like, she's made 3 big movements and laughed. You could sit down at that stage, take a lot of the pressure off, and then have a more of a mature, level-headed conversation.
Sit. Don't put your hands on your hips. She touched her hair. That doesn't mean she'd sit down.
See, now you can kind of see literally within 30 seconds, it's already at the point where she's looking down a bit more often. He's at the point where he's put his hands on his hips. They've hit a lull, and it happens fast. It can happen literally within 30 seconds. And we are at the 30-second mark. This interaction has only been going 30 seconds, and it's already gone from the shock of saying hello to a stranger to spiking her by the looks of things 3 times with 3 kind of little jokey little jabs. I don't know exactly what he said. Obviously, I can't record infield where I'm at the moment. It's not allowed. But at that point, sit down, lower the vibe and try to have a more level-headed conversation.
Sit.
Yeah, and I cut it off there because that's where it actually ended. Now, this is the second one, but yeah, literally within a couple seconds, he needed to actually just sit down and lower the vibe a little bit. He spiked it a little bit too much, in my opinion, as well. A little bit too jokey. Now here's another one where, let's go back, where the girl is across the road. Okay. So you can see at this point he's literally just stepped up from crossing the road. He's opened his mouth from a long distance away. You can see even the construction worker walking by noticed. She turns to the left, and he's got her attention from a long distance away. There's he's not standing over the top of her and starting the conversation. He's starting it from a distance. This is very important, and there's no reason why you can't do this. I get it. A lot of people think if I'm too loud from 3-4 meters away, 5 meters away, I'm going to have to project my voice louder. I'm going to have onlookers like this, and it's going to be a little bit more scary. But in fact, it's the reverse, because when you do that, this onlooker actually thinks that you guys know each other when this is in fact a cold approach. Immediately she smiled. She's noticed he's confident. The construction worker's thinking, oh damn, I've never spoken to a girl like that in my life. She smiled. You can see she's still smiling. We do have another onlooker here. It is important to have a good situational awareness. I get it. When you're in the middle of an approach, it is hard to notice all of the onlookers around and what they think. But that's cold approach, guys. That's how it is. Boom. She just had a little glimpse, and that was it. See, the initial starting of the conversation can get a few little looks, but then they look away. The construction worker no doubt looked away as well. Straight afterwards, they will just assume that you guys know each other, right? Now you can see how her purple dress is the same color as his purple shoes, and he's pointing at his purple shoes. It's like, oh, we got the same color. My shoes are the same color as your dress. Now, you might think that is an awful way to start off a conversation. But really, it's his vibe. It's his confidence. He's come over to meet her. If he was to say something like, oh, I love your dress, it's really sexy, or something like that, would be weird. But just having some sort of a conversation that you can both look at, oh, look, we got the same shoes. That's actually what he said, by the way.
Oh, she smiled immediately. And
the handshake, so he's become physical literally within how long? Not even 10 seconds. So within 10 seconds, he's gone from hello to a stranger to, oh, some sort of random little comment on something in the environment, I often recommend that most of you guys do that. A comment on the environment. If you know, if he says that you've got something in common or points at something in the environment, that's a good way to start up a conversation. She knows that that's not really why you're coming to say hello. She's not stupid. And then he's got physical by holding the hand. It's not really physical, but it's introducing himself, especially in the environment of COVID, where people are paranoid about virus and that. If she's willing to shake your hand, that is, in this environment, a lot more valuable than pre-COVID era, where shaking the hand was just a little bit weird and it was a little bit too formal. So I wouldn't recommend that guys do that. But if she's willing to give you a hug or shake your hand, that is a show of trust immediately within what looks like 11 seconds of saying hello. So that's a sign of her being adventurous, being a little bit outgoing. Now at this point, he should say, hey, look, is it cool if I sit down? You know, can I pull up a seat and sit down with her? Or literally while standing there, just throw in the Hail Mary and ask her to go directly for something. You want to come for a walk? You want to go for lunch? What are you doing for lunch? You're hungry? Something, anything at all. Coffee, drink, you name it. You can literally just throw it out there and get her moving. But that would be generally is a tough thing, and it's a low probability play. So the highest probability is to sit down and just have a chat. Let's see what he does. I already know what he does, but yeah.
Yes.
And then he did step back a little bit. He stood back and gave her a little bit more space. He's not standing over her as much. We are not even 15 seconds into this approach. It's coming up to the point where he needs to sit down. He needs to make a decision what he's going to do, because this does move fast, guys. You literally you literally have 10, 15 seconds, 20 seconds maximum to make an impression. It really does happen that fast.
Approach can be a bit of a problem unless you get her moving immediately or find out a way to sit down.
You can hear me, the commentary in the background while watching this. They're into a bit of a conversation. He was just asking, what is she doing right now, which is something that I recommend, which is go straight into logistics. What are you doing right now? Are you busy right now? Because if she's not busy right now, you can take her on an instant date. Does she live or work around this area? Because then you can try to figure out, okay, well, this is the area where we should line up our date if she's too busy right now, right?
She's stuck there doing that. It's not making it easy. Oh.
So within pretty much exactly 20-25 seconds, you see around the 20-second mark you need to make a decision and either sit down. Not always, obviously, but standing over the top of someone who's seated can be a little bit intimidating, depending on the person, depending on their personality, etc. But as you can see here, he pretty much went straight into logistics, which I recommend. And then you want to go for a drink, and then she agreed. And so if we rewind it back, there's a point there.
Unless you get her moving immediately or find out a way to sit down. If you're stuck there doing that, it's not.
So around here is when he went into logistics.
Yeah, seated approach can be a bit of a problem.
And then she starts telling him that she doesn't really have any plans and she lives around here.
Unless you get her moving immediately or find out a way to sit down. If you're stuck there doing...
Then he just laid it all out on the table right there.
That, It's not making it easy. Oh, is she gonna? Oh, beautiful. That's the plan. That's the plan.
And then boom, off they go. They went off to a instant date that then ended up they ended up going to the movies. They ended up having a few drinks together and spending the night together. So it was a good night. And that's how you should attempt to deal with a girl that's seated. You go over there, you literally have a matter of seconds to make a decision. The default is go over, introduce yourself, and then make some sort of a comment on something in the environment, ask them what they're doing right now, and then sit and then try to run your game while being in a seated approach. That's how you should do it. In simplistic terms, obviously, it can be a little bit more complex. This is just the default, how you should do it, the standard way. Depending on who you are, what you look like, the type of girl you're approaching, the environment you're in, the way that you handle social situations. That's why you need coaching, obviously. But yeah, that's the basic understanding of how you should do it. If you are interested in doing some coaching and you want to get this part of your life sorted and you want to go out there and learn to cold approach not just seated girls in any environment in your day-to-day life, right? Top link in the description. You can sign up to do some coaching with me, do a boot camp. There's a Telegram group that you can sign up to as well. I recommend that if you are having trouble meeting women and you're not getting enough dates in, you should definitely come out and do some coaching with me. We go out there, we go out in the field, and we take a lot of action, and all of the guys that I've helped out have got results. And that's not just getting a lot of flaky numbers, that's getting actual results, girlfriends, etc. So I recommend that if you are having troubles right now, you sign up to do a boot camp ASAP. I'll see you in the next video.